Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 9, Text 6. Translation and commentary by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of ISKCON.
Srimad Bhagavatam, treće pevanje, 9. poglavlje, stih broj 6, prevodi smisao njegove božanske milosti Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, osnivača Acharya ISKCONa.
Lord Brahma was speaking about pure devotees.
U prošlom stihu gospodin Brahma je govorio o čistim bhaktima.
And in this verse he, by contrast, presents the position of ordinary people of this material world.
A u ovom stihu on naprotiv opisuje poziciju običnog čoveka u materijalnom svetu.
Their shoka and spriha is vipula, which means their lamentation and their desires are very great.
Njihovo jadikovanje i želje su veoma veliki.
And their greed is very great.
Njihova pohlepa je veoma velika.
Therefore they suffer in this material world.
I zbog toga pate u ovom materijalnom svetu.
Sometimes we see materialistic people.
Ponekad vidimo materialiste.
And we may think, well, they're not doing so bad.
I možemo misliti, pa nije im baš tako loše.
Material life it's not very bad.
A materijalni život nije baš tako loš.
People seem to be fairly happy.
Ljudi izgledaju vrlo srećni.
Here Brahma says their anxiety, lamentation, their desires, their greed, they're all vipula, very great.
Ali ovdje Brahma kaže da su njihova teskoba, jadikovanje i želje koje imaju vrlo veliki.
People are suffering very much in this material world.
Ljudi veoma pate u ovom materijalnom svetu.
Their apparent happiness is only a brief respite.
Njihova takozvana sreća je samo
gap respite means a short time of relief.
Samo kratak blesak.
Between very great sufferings.
So samo mali prekid između dva.
Okay, I'll explain this word respite.
Između dve velike patnje.
As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained it.
Objasnit ću tu reč kao što je Chaitanya Mahaprabhu objasnio.
That there's one kind of punishment.
Postoji jedna vrsta kazne
for criminals.
Za kriminalce.
Where someone is taken into the middle of a river and put under the water by force.
Kada osobu odvedu nasred reke i onda gnjure u glavu na silu.
And held there for a long time.
I drže dugo pod vodom.
Then he's pulled up.
Onda ga izvuku napolje.
So his lungs are just bursting.
Njegova pluća izgaraju želje za
and he breathes in. What a relief.
Znači on udiše i
immediately, boom, straight under again.
I tamo što je udahnuo, oni ga opet zarane.
So this is done several times.
To se radi više puta.
As one kind of punishment.
Neka vrsta kazne.
That someone is suffering so much, wanting air, and feels he's going to drown.
Osoba pati, toliko pati, želi vazduh i osjeća da će se udaviti.
So in the same way, material life is intense suffering.
Na isti način je materijalni život intenzivna patnja.
But sometimes we come up for air, and then we're thinking, this is very nice.
Ali ponekad dođemo do malo vazduha i mislimo ovo je jako lepo.
But before you have time to do anything else, you're again.
Ali prije nego što imamo vremena da bilo što drugo učinimo, opet se zaranimo.
So in the same way, we may think that our material life is very nice.
Na sličan način možemo misliti da je materijalni život vrlo lep.
But it's just a brief respite between intense suffering.
Ali to je samo kratak prekid između velikih patnji.
Intense suffering at least takes place when one is put in the lower species of life.
Koje se doživljavaju barem kada je osoba u najnižim oblicima života.
That is very great suffering.
To je vrlo velika patnja.
You see the plants.
Na primjer u biljkama.
Their consciousness is so much covered over.
Svjesnost u biljkama je vrlo prekrivena.
They're practically unconscious.
One su praktično nesvjesne.
Or the lower animals, such low consciousness.
a u nižim životinjama je tako niska svesnost.
See, these dogs are barking all the time.
Psi samo laju.
It's just an expression of their suffering.
To je izraz njihove patnje.
But they are thinking this is very nice.
Ali oni misle to je jako lepo.
They're thinking, how wonderful, I'm showing how powerful I am.
Misle, kako sam ja moćan.
Their pleasure is suffering.
Njihovo zadovoljstvo je patnja.
Just like this, in the modern age, sex attraction is promoted so much.
Kao što se u današnje doba seksualna želja toliko reklamira.
That lusty desire is promoted.
A reklamiraju se te požudne želje.
Everything is sold by promoting lusty desires.
I sve se prodaje pomoću s tim reklamiranjem požudnih želja.
Here in Belgrade we see everywhere advertisements for Pirelli tires.
Svuda ovdje u Beogradu vidimo reklame za gume Pirelli.
With a picture of a beautiful young woman.
Sa slikom lepe žene.
Now what has a car tire got to do with a beautiful young woman?
Kako veze ima automobilska guma sa lepom ženom?
It's just, it's just a piece of rubber.
To je samo komad gume.
It's as asexual as anything could possibly be.
To je potpuno aseksualno.
I mean, if you pick up a rubber tire, you don't become sexually stimulated.
Ako uhvatite automobilsku gumu, nećete biti seksualno uzbuđeni.
But somehow or other they're selling rubber tires.
Ali
if you use this tire, then you'll get some sexual stimulation.
Kažu, ako koristite baš ove gume, onda ćete imati jaku seksualnu stimulaciju.
So in this way they're promoting everything like this.
I na taj način sve reklamiraju.
By cigarettes, Coca-Cola.
Cigarete, Coca-Cola.
And if you smoke this cigarette, you'll be a big tough guy, and all the women will come to you.
Ako budeš pušio baš ove cigarete, bit ćeš čvrst momak i dolazit će ti sve žene.
Or use Coca-Cola and there's some woman with her hair splayed out all over the place like a rakshasi.
Ili ako piješ Coca-Cola, onda će ti doći žena kao sa kosom rasutom kao
rakshasi. So then you go to the shop and buy Coca-Cola.
Onda odeš u prodavnicu i kupiš Coca-Cola.
Thank you.
Hvala.
So, where's the rakshasi?
Gdje je rakshasi?
It's only in the advert.
To je samo
in the reklama, yeah. It's only in the reklama. And the reklama means they reclaim your money from your pocket.
To znači ti premeštaju pare iz tvog džepa.
You work like an ass to get the money and then they take it back from you.
Radiš kao magarac da zaradiš pare, onda ti ih oni uzimaju nazad.
So they're promoting this, that this is something which will make you happy.
Znači oni reklamiraju to kao nešto što će vas učiniti srećnim.
But actually these lusty desires, they don't make you happy, it's simply a cause of disturbance.
Ali vas požudne želje neće učiniti srećnim jer su one naprosto
Dushparena cha. In Gita, Krishna explains that lusty desires, it's like burning the heart.
Krishna u Bhagavad Gita objašnjava da su požudne želje kao vatra u srcu.
But in this material world people are so far away from any real happiness that they take this stimulation as a kind of happiness.
Ali ljudi u ovom svijetu su toliko daleko od prave sreće da i ovakvu stimulaciju, takav podsticaj uzimaju kao neku sreću.
Practically the whole modern society is based around attempting to satisfy the genitals.
Praktično čitavo današnje društvo je zasnovano na težnji da se zadovolji genitalije.
But they're not satisfied.
Ali one nisu zadovoljene.
People are never satisfied.
Ljudi nikad nisu zadovoljeni.
It's all in the advertisements only.
To je sve samo na reklamama.
But then you engage in sex life and what's there?
A šta je u tom seksualnom životu?
You don't find people dancing in ecstasy.
Ne
engage in sex life.
Ne vidimo ljudi koji plešu u ekstazi.
If by chance you happen to be in the red light area of a city.
Ako nekim slučajem se nađete u crvenom
you don't find that everyone's very happy and it's very low vibration.
A na crvenom svetlu u gradu onda nećete baš naći da su ljudi mnogo srećni.
Very degraded vibration.
Vrlo degradirana vibracija.
So this is considered the best happiness in the material world.
A to se smatra najvećom srećom u materijalnom svijetu.
But what is it? It's simply this promoting lusty desires and then fulfilling them.
Ali šta je to samo? To je samo reklamiranje požudnih želja, njihovo ispunjavanje.
It's just like when you have an itch, you scratch it and you feel some relief.
Kao kada vas nešto svrbi, vi se češete i onda osjetite neko olakšanje.
But actually when you scratch it, it becomes more painful.
Ali što više češete, to vas više boli.
So happiness in the material world is just like you see someone is scratching themselves.
I sreća u materijalnom svijetu je baš kao kad se češete.
And you're thinking, wow, they must be getting so much relief from their itching.
Mora da mislite za čovjeka koji se češe da dobija jako veliko olakšanje.
So let me have some itching also, then I can scratch it.
Hajde ja malo da se češem. U stvari da ja imam neki svrbež pa da se češem.
They don't know any happiness beyond scratching the itch.
Ne znaju nikakvu sreću izvan tog češenja.
Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj describes this happiness as tucham, insignificant.
Stoga Prahlad Maharaj opisuje ovu sreću kao beznačajnu.
Yan maitunadi grihamedi sukham hi tucham. He says that this happiness in the material world begins with sex life, but it is simply insignificant.
On kaže da sreća u materijalnom životu počinje sa seksualnim životom, ali da je potpuno beznačajna.
Kanduyanena karaya ivadu kadukam. It's just like scratching your hand. It is a cause of one misery after another.
Ona je poput češanja ruke i samo uzrokuje jednu za drugom nevolje.
Licit or illicit.
Zakonit ili nezakonit.
It is a cause of suffering.
Uzrok je patnje.
People, you think they will get married and we will live very happily ever after.
Ljudi misle, ženit ćemo se i vječno ćemo živjeti srećno.
They tell these fairy stories.
Pričaju te bajke.
In which some heroic prince rescues a princess from a dragon.
U kojima neki herojski princ spašava princezu od zmaja.
And then they marry.
Onda se venčaju.
And they live happily ever after.
I onda žive do kraja života srećno.
This is called a fairy story.
To se zove bajka.
It's only in the fairy stories.
To postoji samo u bajkama.
Because no one lives happily ever after.
Jer niko kasnije ne živi srećno.
Anyway, they don't live ever after.
Uopšte ne žive večno.
Because they have to die.
Jer moraju da umru.
And anyway, they're not happy either.
A nisu ni srećni.
It's like they have the fairy story. He rescues the princess from the dragon, then he marries her, and then she runs away with some other guy. And you don't hear that in the fairy story.
To kao kad bi u bajci princ spasao princezu uz zmaja, onda ona pobjegla sa nekim drugim. Toga nema u bajkama.
Actually, in Thailand the fairy stories are like that.
U stvari, bajke su, u Tajlandu su bajke takve.
That's Thailand.
To je Tajland.
That's why people fly from all over Europe to Thailand.
Zato ljudi svugdje iz Evrope dolaze u Tajland.
Because there's, prostitute on every street corner.
Jer imate prostitutku na svakom uglu ulici.
That's why, main reason Thailand is one of the most popular tourist places.
To je glavni razlog zašto je Tajland jedan od najpopularnijih turističkih mjesta.
People, they have sex at home, they have their wives and their girlfriends.
Ljudi imaju seks kod kuće sa ženama i djevojkama.
And they're thinking, let me fly to Thailand and try it out there.
Ali oni misle da odem u Tajland i da pokušam tamo.
It's the same thing.
Ista stvar.
But they're thinking, well, maybe it's better over there.
Ali oni misle možda je bolje tamo.
Just like that story of Hiralaka.
Kao priča o Hiralaki.
There was one prostitute who was considered so beautiful.
Bilo jedna prostitutka koju su smatrali tako lepom.
That her fee was 100,000 diamonds.
Da je njena cena bila 100,000 dijamanata.
What did you say, Hira? Diamant. So there was one poor Brahmin who foolishly fell in love with her.
Bio je jedan pali Brahmana koji se budalasti zaljubio u nju.
He's very foolish.
Bio je vrlo budalac.
Because he didn't have any money.
Ali nije imao para.
So it's better to fall in love with someone who you can approach rather than...
Stoga je bolje zaljubiti se u nekoga kome možete da priđete.
So anyway, his wife saw he was very morose.
A njegova žena je bila strašno tužna, zlojeđena.
This Brahmin happened to be a leper also, just to add a little flavor to the story.
Malo šlagana, čitao priču, taj Brahman je imao lepru.
It means he was very sinful from previous lives.
Što znači da je bio strašno grešan iz prošlih života.
He was probably lusting over prostitutes in previous lives also.
Vjerojatno je bio požudan za prostitutkama i u prošlim životima.
But instead of thinking, now I'm a leper, how did I become a leper?
Ali umjesto da misli, ja sam imao lepru, kako je došlo do
I
toga?
must have done something very sinful.
Mora da sam uradio nešto grešno.
So why don't I act piously?
Zašto ne bih delovao pobožno?
Then I won't have to become a leper again.
Da ne bih opet bio leprozan.
But he thought, no, I want to enjoy this
Ali on je mislio, ne, ja
so
želim
beautiful.
da uživam u ovoj divnoj prostitutki.
He was married actually.
A bio je oženjen.
So his wife was very chaste.
Njegova žena je bila vrlo čestita.
He was a lucky guy.
Bio je srećko.
And even though he was such a wretch, he had a chaste wife.
Iako je bio takav otpadnik, imao je čestitu ženu.
So his wife saw he was unhappy. His wife saw he was unhappy.
Aha, njegova žena je vidjela da je on nesrećan.
So as a chaste wife, she was simply thinking how to make her husband happy.
I kao čestita žena samo je mislila o tome kako da usreći svog muža.
His Vedic culture.
To je vedska kultura.
The wife thinks how to make the husband happy.
Žena misli kako da usreći muža.
She's not planning how to have battles with him.
Ona ne planira kako da se svađa s njime.
Balkan wars at home.
Balkanski ratovi kod kuće.
But they're trying to satisfy the husband.
Već pokušava da zadovolji svog muža.
So the shameless wretch of a husband said, yes, I'm very happy because I want to enjoy that prostitute and I can't.
A taj bestidni otpadnik od njenog muža je rekao, da, jako sam srećan, ja želim da uživam s tom prostitutkom. Jako sam nesrećan, ja želim da uživam s tom prostitutkom.
So his wife thought how to satisfy her husband. It's kind of a strange story.
I žena je mislila kako da zadovolji muža, vrlo čudna misao.
Instead of telling him that you're in Maya,
umjesto da mu kaže, ti si u Maji.
I'm already your wife, what's wrong with me?
Ja sam već tvoja žena, šta nije u redu sa mnom?
She thought, all right, let me try to let me see that my husband's desire will be satisfied.
Ona je želela da zadovolji želju svoga muža.
So she started going to the house of that prostitute.
I počela da odlazi u kuću te prostitutke.
And cleaning up the house after the mad rampages every night.
I posle ludih lumbovanja svake noći da čisti kuću.
Making everything neat and tidy.
Da sve bude uredno i čisto.
Putting some nice flowers.
Stavljale cveće.
Some incense. And serving in so many ways.
I služila je na tako mnogo načina.
The prostitute was looking at her.
Prostitutka ju je gledala.
So after some days she said, why are you coming to my house and doing this?
Nakon nekoliko dana pitala je, zašto ti dolaziš u moju kuću i sve to radiš?
Do you want some payment?
I želiš neku platu?
No.
Ne.
You must be doing it for some reason.
Mora da radiš to iz nekog razloga.
I'll tell you after some days.
Reći ću ti za nekoliko dana.
So this went on some more days.
I onda je prošlo još nekoliko dana.
Prostitute said, you have to tell me. What do you want? You must want something.
Prostitutka je rekla, reci mi šta želiš, moraš da želiš nešto.
You're serving so nicely.
Tako lepo služiš.
Must be some reason.
Mora da je to iz nekog razloga.
So the lady said, yes, there's something I want from you.
I žena je rekla, da, ima nešto što želim od tebe.
But I don't think you'll want to give me.
Ali mislim da mi nećeš to dati.
So, well, I mean, you're serving so nicely. Surely there's something I can give you.
Prostitutka je rekla, pa ti me tako lepo služiš, sigurno ima nešto što ti mogu dati.
I'm earning 100,000 diamonds a day, so I'm sure whatever you want, I can give you.
Ja zarađujem 100,000 dijamanata dnevno i sigurno sam da mogu da ti dam što god hoćeš.
What do you want?
Šta želiš?
Do you want to enjoy with any of the big noblemen of the kingdom? I can tell them. They're all under my control.
Da li želiš da uživaš sa nekim od plemića ovog kraljevstva? Oni su svi pod mojim kontrolom i mogu to da sredim.
No, not that. I'm a chaste wife.
Ne, ja sam čestita žena.
So what do you want?
Šta onda hoćeš?
Actually, my husband wants to enjoy with you.
U stvari, moj muž hoće da uživa s tobom.
So I'm doing this service. I don't have 100,000 diamonds, but I'd be very grateful if you could please him in this way.
Ali nemam 100,000 dijamanata, pa zato radim ovu službu i bila bih jako srećena ako bi mogla da ga zadovoljiš.
So the prostitute laughed.
Prostitutka se nasmijala.
She said, all right, call him and let's have a look. I'm booked up for the next 6 months, but we'll fix some date.
U redu, pozovi ga, zakazana sam za sljedećih 6 mjeseci, ali sredit ćemo to neki dan.
So then the leper heard about this,
Kad je leproš čuo to,
and he would have his wife told him,
žena mu je rekla,
and he would have jumped for joy, but he didn't have any toes because he was a leper.
skakao bi od sreće, ali nije imao palčeve na nogama od lepre.
So he was marking it on the calendar.
Precrtavao je dane na kalendaru.
Only 120 days to go.
Samo još 120 dana.
Only 119 days to go.
119.
And one day, the day came.
I jednog dana je došao taj dan.
Now I'm going to enjoy like anything.
Sad ću da uživam.
This is going to be the best moment of my life.
To će biti najbolji trenutak mog života.
So he went there to the prostitute's house.
Otišao je u prostitutkinu
She
kuću.
said, "You've been waiting such a long time."
I ona je rekla, čekao si toliko dugo.
So I thought I should make it extra special for you.
I zato sam pomislio da treba da ti napravim nešto ekstra specijalno.
Apart from being expert in sex, I'm also expert in cooking.
Osim što sam ekspertna u seksu, jako sam stručna i u kuhanju.
So I'm going to serve you a nice meal.
I zato ću ti dati lep obrok.
And you can enjoy afterwards.
A da bi mogo da uživaš posle.
So Brahma said, "Sounds good to me."
Brahma je rekao, zvuči dobro.
I'm only a poor Brahmin, I don't get much good things to eat.
Ja sam siromašni Brahmana i ne dobijem mnogo ukusnih
So
stvari
then
da
she served him a nice feast.
I ona mu je
So
poslužila
many different preparations.
lepu gozbu sa mnogo ovih
She
jela.
brought every preparation in a gold pot and served it.
Svaku preparaciju je donela u zlatnom loncu i služila ga.
And then after serving in the gold pot, she'd bring exactly the same preparation in an iron pot and serve it again.
A nakon toga bi donela potpuno istu preparaciju u metalnom loncu i sipala opet.
So in this way the leper became completely full.
I onda se taj leproš potpuno napunio.
But he asked, "Why did you serve exactly the same preparation twice, both in a gold pot and an iron pot?"
Ali onda je zapitao zašto si služila svaku preparaciju dva puta, jednom iz zlatnog i drugi put iz
The
metalnog.
said, "Why do you want to enjoy with me, you rascal?
A onda je prostitutka pitala zašto želiš da uživaš sa mnom?
It's just the same thing.
To je potpuno ista stvar.
Either your wife or me, it's the same thing.
Bilo sa ženom ili sa mnom, to je ista
The same
stvar.
enjoyment.
Isto uživanje.
Only you're thinking I have nice hair and silky smooth skin because I use Lux soap.
Samo zato što misliš da imam lepu kosu i svilenu kožu zato što koristim.
You don't have Lux soap here.
No.
They didn't make it here. They're all over India.
I neki sapun koristim.
One kind of soap that if you use it, the skin becomes silky smooth.
Ako koristite taj sapun, koža postaje glatka kao svila.
But when you rascal, when you're enjoying sex, it's all the same thing.
Ali nitkove kad uživaš u seksu, to je sve ista stvar.
So some realization dawned on the Brahmin.
I Brahman je dobio neku realizaciju.
That actually it's true.
To je tačno.
That this beauty is only imagined in the mind anyway.
Jer ta lepota se onako samo zamišlja u umu.
Now what is it that makes someone with silky smooth skin be more attractive than someone with rough skin?
Jer šta je to što čini nekog sa kožom glatkom kao svila privlačnim od nekog sa grubom kožom?
Why is it that we feel attracted if someone has very nice blonde hair and someone just has some ragged old nasty looking hair?
Šta je to što vas privlači kod osobe koja ima divnu plavu kosu, a ne osoba koja ima neku čumu na glavi?
Why is it considered to be more desirable that someone has a very nice balanced figure?
Zašto se smatra poželjnim ako neko ima tako lepo izvojenu
rather than being skinny like a stick?
Umjesto što a ne smatra se poželjnim oni koji je tanak kao prut.
Or just like a big sack of potatoes.
Ili kao džak krompira.
Why is it considered better?
Zašto se to smatra boljim?
It's just when you engage in sex life, it's all the same thing.
Kada imate seks, to je sve isto.
It's only imagined in the mind that something is better.
To je samo umišljeno u umu da je nešto bolje.
Someone thinks, if only I could marry a film star, then it'd be so wonderful.
Neko misli kad bih samo mogao da se oženim filmskom zvezdom.
Actually, there was for one whole generation there was one film star who was like in India who was the cynosure of everyone's eyes. It means everyone was lusting after her.
Aha. A tokom čitave jedne generacije u Indiji postala jedna filmska zvezda, žena za koju su svi uzdisali.
Everyone would go to the film.
Svi su gledali njene filmove.
Prabhupada explained the same thing. He said he remembered in his childhood that among the respectable men in Calcutta they would bring dancing girls.
I Prabhupada je objasnio tu istu stvar. On se seća iz svog djetinjstva da su ugledni ljudi dovodili plesačice.
This idea was introduced by Rabindranath Tagore, that you should have some cultural dance show. But it means all the men go and look at the dancing girls. Oh, how beautiful.
Tu ideju je uveo Rabindranath Tagore da treba da postoji neki dance show, plesni show u kome plešu devojke, a ljudi gledaju.
So Prabhupada said all the men would be sitting around her just like dogs.
I Prabhupada je rekao svi ljudi bi sedeli oko nje poput pasa.
And they would think it a great benediction if the dancing girl would smile at them.
I mislili su znači da je to veliki blagoslov, ta devojka koja pleše i nasmeje mu se.
So like that they have the cinema stars.
Tako su imali filmske zvezde.
So everyone was lusting after this Rekha, as that was her name.
I svako je uzdisao za tom glumicom.
And then when she was getting a bit past film star age, she was getting in the 30s.
A kad je zašla malo u godine koje nisu baš atraktivne.
And she had already been used by half the men in Bombay.
Znači više prešla 30. godine i već su iskoristili pola ljudi.
Finally one lucky man got to marry her.
Konačno se jedan Srećković njome oženio.
And within 2 weeks he committed suicide.
I za 2 nedelje se ubio.
So everyone was thinking, the lucky guy.
Svi su mislili Srećković.
I'm so envious of that guy.
Ako se tako mu zavidim.
I wanted to marry her.
Ja sam htio da se oženim.
And half the population of India were envious of him.
Pola Indije mu je zavidilo.
That means all the men.
Znači svi muškarci.
But then he found, well, she's just a bitch.
Ali onda je shvatio kao ne samo kučka.
So it was so miserable that within 2 weeks he committed suicide.
I upao takvu nesreću da se ubio za 2 nedelje.
So anyway, the moral of all this is that it's not really any fun.
Pouka svega toga je da to nije baš neka zabava.
This sex life, it is simply advertised as being something wonderful.
Taj seksualni život se samo reklamira kao nešto divno.
But if it's actually so wonderful, then why are the people flying from Germany and England to Bangkok?
Ali ako je tako divan, zašto onda ljudi putuju iz Engleske i Nemačke u Bangkok?
They already got it at home.
Oni već to imaju kod kuće.
But they're not satisfied.
Ali nisu zadovoljni.
So think, let me go there.
Zato misle da odem tamo.
Maybe the venereal disease is better there than here.
Možda su venerične bolesti tamo bolje nego ovdje.
Let's try it out.
Daj da probam.
And then they come back and then they try again.
Da se vraćaju i pokušavaju.
But it doesn't satisfy.
Ali ne bivaju zadovoljni.
Tripyanti neha kripana bahudu kabhaja, Prahlad Maharaj continues. They're kripana. They're misers.
Prahlad Maharaj nastavlja.
They're simply trying to indulge in sexual satisfaction.
Oni su škrtice, jedino pokušavaju da se upuste u
wasting their lives.
Ali
spoiling their lives.
Uništavaju svoje živote.
You got the human form of life, it's supposed to be used for Krishna consciousness.
Ljudski oblik života treba da je namenjen svjesnosti Krišne.
But they're simply using it as the animals do.
Ali ga oni koriste kao što i životinje.
Even the animals they can enjoy much more.
Životinje mogu mnogo više da uživaju.
You see, monkeys, they generally go around one male with 30 females.
Majmuni obično...
Maybe not 30, but at least 7 or 8. If it's a big strong monkey, he may have 30.
Kod majmuna obično jedan mužjak ima oko sebe 7 ženki.
And they have very healthy bodies.
I vrlo snažna tela.
They don't have to go to the gymnasium to do exercises.
Ne moraju da idu u vežbališta da vežbaju.
And they don't have to go to a factory to support their wives.
Ne moraju da idu u fabrike da izdržavaju svoje žene.
They simply they eat some fruits and roots in the jungle.
Neki plodove i korenje u džungli.
Or they come into people's kitchens and steal chapatis.
Ili kradu čapati iz kuhinja.
And in this way They enjoy sex life.
I tako uživaju u seksu.
So if you really want to enjoy sex life, why be a human being?
I onda ako zaista želite da uživate u seksu,
It's so difficult.
zašto biste bili čovjek? To je
You
tako
have to,
teško.
go through all this trouble of getting married, or at least you have to get money.
Morate da prođete kroz sve te muke da se ženite ili bar da imate pare.
Back to Thailand, there's one Thai saying.
Opet u Tajlandu postoji jedna izreka. Tajlandu.
Mi nun, mi puyin. It means, if you have money, you have a girl.
Ako imaš pare, imaš i devojku.
If you don't, you don't.
Ako
Don't have money, don't have a girl.
Ako nemaš para, nemaš i devojku.
So either married or girlfriend, you have to have money.
Bilo si oženjen ili devojka, moraš da imaš para.
No lady loves a man with no money.
Nijedna žena ne voli i muškarca bez para.
You may flatter her and say, you are just the most beautiful woman I've ever seen.
Možete je laskati i reći ti si nešto najlepša žena koju sam ikad vidio.
She says, that's very nice.
On će reći, to je lepo.
How much money do you have in your pocket?
Koliko imaš para u džepu?
But the monkeys, they don't ask how much money in your pocket because they don't have any pockets.
Ali najbolje ne pitaju koliko imaš para u džepu, jer nemaju džepove.
It's simply, okay, let's enjoy.
Nego jednostavno, ajde da uživamo.
So better be a monkey.
Bolje biti majmun.
Why be a human if you want to enjoy sex life?
Ako želite seks, zašto biti čovjek?
So by the arrangement of nature, if that's what you're interested in,
Po uređenju prirode, ako je to ono što vas interesuje,
that's what you'll get.
to ćete i dobiti.
The human life is not meant for that.
Ali ljudski život nije namenjen za to.
Human life is meant for living on a more elevated platform than that of the monkeys.
Ljudski život je namenjen življenju na višem nivou nego što je to majmunski.
The monkeys don't have to fly off to Bangkok.
Majmuni ne moraju da lete u Bangkok.
Although they may be, the monkeys sometimes they're captured in the jungles of Bangkok.
Mada majmune ponekad
Of Thailand.
hvataju u džunglama Tajlanda.
And their genitals are cut off.
Seku im genitalije.
And they're given as an operation for someone whose genitals are worn out through overuse.
I onda ih presađuju operacijom onima čiji su genitalije propale.
You know that?
Da li to znate?
Sometimes they do that. Frank Sinatra.
Frank
He did it his way.
On je to učinio na svoj način.
He did it the monkey's way.
U stvari na majmunski
He got
način.
worn out doing it the human way, so he did it the monkey's way.
Učinio je to na majmunski način.
And he died recently, and people were lamenting.
Skoro je umro nedavno i ljudi su jadikovali.
But why should they lament?
Ali zašto bi jadikovali?
He simply went to another body,
Jednostavno je otišao u drugo telo.
and he didn't have enough strength to do it anymore his way.
I više nije imao snage da to radi na svoj način.
So he got, no doubt, was given the body of a monkey to do it that way.
I nema sumnje da mu je dato telo majmuna da bi radio na taj način.
This is material life.
To je materijalni život.
Simply 8,400,000 ways of trying to enjoy sex life, that's all.
8.400.000 života, načina da se uživa u seksu i to je sve.
See, even the cockroaches.
Čak i bubašvabe.
You have cockroaches here also, I've seen in this
Vidio
temple.
Vidio sam da imate ovdje u hramu također bubašvabe.
By the benediction of the dogs, they can't sleep at night, so they don't want anyone else to sleep at night either.
Vidio sam to uz blagoslov pasa koji mi nisu dali da spavaju.
So when I was moving around at night, I saw so many cockroaches.
I kad sam išao naokolo noću, vidio sam toliko mnogo bubašvaba.
Small cockroaches.
Malecke.
In India we have nice big cockroaches.
Mi imamo jako lepe velike komade.
So you see them moving around at night also.
I vidite ih kako se noću šetkaju.
And they're also enjoying sex life.
I također živaju u seksu.
You see, one cockroach will run a little distance and the other one will run a little behind.
Vidite jednu bubašvabu kako ide i za njom na nekoj udaljenosti druga ide, prati je.
And then the female will run again a little forward and the male will run behind.
Onda ženka malo odmakne, a mužek za njom.
Can I, can't I, can I, can't I?
Mogu, ne mogu, mogu, ne mogu.
And Miss Cockroach is saying, come on, come on, come on.
A gospođica bubašvaba govori, dođi, dođi.
Then she's saying, no, no, no.
Onda kaže, ne, ne, ne.
Just the same as human.
Baš kao ljudi.
And then eventually, okay.
I onda na kraju, ajde.
So they're enjoying.
I onda uživaju.
And the cockroach is thinking, I mean, this Miss Cockroach, she's the most beautiful cockroach I ever saw.
A muška bubašvaba misli, ova gospođica bubašvaba je nešto
She's so
najlepše što sam vidio.
beautiful.
Ona je tako divna.
Look at those, that shiny brown back.
Gledaj samo taj sjajni, ta sjajna brown
And
leđa.
that pair of feelers,
I tarantana.
which is always going like this and inspiring the lusty desires.
Idete gore dole i podstiču
And
poželjne želje.
I never saw such legs.
I nikad nisam vidio takve noge.
These beautiful legs like this.
Te krasne noge.
So they're also enjoying,
I oni uživaju.
thinking this is
I misle, ovo je super.
just like we have Miss Universe competition.
Kao što imamo takmičenje za Miss Univerzum.
So mostly the cockroaches are in the kitchen.
Bubašvabe uglavnom su u kuhinji.
So they have Miss Kitchen.
Imaju Miss kuhinje.
Who's the most beautiful cockroach in this kitchen?
Ko je najlepša bubašvaba u kuhinji?
And it's the same thing. They're enjoying life.
To je ista stvar i oni uživaju.
Even you see the cows,
Vidite i krave,
with the bulls.
bikove.
The cow will come up and
Krava dođe i
shake her head, and the bull will,
trese glavom.
and then the bull will go wild, and
Da bik poludi.
it's the same thing.
Potpuno ista stvar.
8,400,000 ways.
8.400.000 načina.
But Prahlad Maharaj says, now you got the human form of life.
Prahlad Maharaj kaže, ali sada ste dobili ljudski oblik
Don't be a
života.
kripana,
I ne budite kripani.
a rascal.
Nitko.
Now you should engage in Krishna consciousness.
Sada treba da se zakupite svesnošću Krišne.
Realize that human life is not meant simply for eating, sleeping, mating and defending.
I da shvatite da ljudski život nije namenjen samo za jedanje, spavanje, branjenje i razmnožavanje.
Tato Brahma Jigyasa. Now we should inquire into Brahman, who is Krishna.
Sada treba da se zapitamo ko je Krišna, ko je Brahman.
Where is this sexual propensity coming from?
Odakle dolazi ta potreba za seksom?
Radha Krishna. That is the transcendental sex enjoyment.
Radha Krišna, to je transcendentalno seksualno
That is
življenje.
not that is not with so many inebrieties. That is simply on the pure platform of transcendental exchange.
To je potpuno na čistom nivou transcendentalne razmene.
So why not become interested in this?
Zašto se ne zainteresujemo za to?
If we become interested in Krishna,
Ako se zainteresujemo za Krišnu,
then we don't have to be degraded.
onda ne moramo da budemo pali i degradirani.
Sex life is very degrading.
Seksualni život je vrlo
You see
degradiran.
even big intellectuals, they have big lofty philosophical ideas,
Možete vidjeti čak i velike intelektualce sa velikim filozofskim idejama,
but if they can't control their sexual desires, then they're dragged to the level of animals.
ali ako ne mogu da kontrolišu svoje seksualne želje, onda padaju na nivo
You see
životinja.
this Bill Clinton, very respectable position, President of the United States,
Vidite recimo Bill Clinton, on ima jako ugledan položaj predsjednika Amerike,
but he's being dragged down
ali je povučen dole,
because he couldn't control his sexual desires.
jer nije mogao da kontroliše svoju seksualnu želju.
He's being embarrassed in front of the whole world.
Bio je praktično osramoćen pred čitavim svijetom.
So you'll see, like there's so many big philosophers. There was this, in the first part of this century, there was a famous British philosopher, Bertrand Russell.
A u prvoj polovini veka živio je čuveni britanski filozof Bertrand Russell.
So he was a big atheist.
On je bio veliki ateista.
And in those days, mostly people in Britain were God-fearing Christians, as they had been for hundreds of years.
A u to vreme su ljudi većinom bili bogobojažljivi hrišćani.
But he had the courage, misplaced courage, to stand up and say, I don't believe in God.
A znači on imao hrabrosti, naravno pogrešno usmjerene hrabrosti, da kaže ja ne vjerujem u Boga.
So it was a very revolutionary idea.
To je vrlo revolucionalna
So he
ideja.
had so many high ideas. He was a humanist.
I imao je toliko visokih ideja, bio je humanista.
He doesn't believe in war.
On ne vjeruje u rat.
But in his private life, he was just having sex left, right and center.
Ali u svom ličnom životu imao seks na sve strane, levo, desno.
So for all his high ideas,
I,
he was simply a dog, that's all.
I pored svih njegovih visokih ideja bio je samo pas.
Just like in the 60s and 70s, there was so much fear of nuclear threat. nuclear war.
Kao što je 60-ih i 70-ih godina bio veliki strah od nuklearnog rata.
So the slogan of the anti-nuclear movement in the Western country was "Make love, not war."
I onda je taj moto antinuklearnog pokreta u zapadnim zemljama bio vodite ljubav, a ne rat.
We don't want war.
Mi ne želimo rat.
The American students, they didn't want to go to Vietnam.
Amerikanci kažu da nisu želi da idu u Vijetnam.
They want to live in peace.
Mi želimo da živimo u miru.
But why do they want peace?
Ali zašto žele mir?
To make love, in other words, to have sex.
Da bi vodili ljubav, odnosno imali seks.
Let us peacefully engage in sex life.
Hajde da se mirno zakupimo seksom.
But there's no peace in this material world.
Ali u ovom svetu nema mira.
By indulging in illicit sex, then you make a chain of sinful reactions.
Ako se upuštate u seks, onda stvarate lanac grešnih reakcija.
In this area, they're trying to find some solution, political solution.
U oblasti pokušavaju da nađu neka politička rješenja.
There's always one war after another.
Politička rješenja za ratove koji se neprestano odvijaju.
There's the Muslims and the Croatians fighting the Serbs.
Prvo muslimani i Hrvati tuku Srbe.
Sometimes the Muslims and Serbs fighting the Croatians.
Onda muslimani i Srbi tuku Hrvate.
And the Croatians and Serbs fight. There's always one war after another.
Sad su se zasitili borbe tamo i otišli su da se bore negdje drugdje.
Fed up with killing them.
Se ubijaju muslimana, pa hajde da ubijemo Albance.
And the people of the world are shocked.
A ljudi širom sveta su
They're
šokirani.
trying to find some solution.
Pokušavaju da nađu neko
There is
rješenje.
no solution.
Ali nema rješenja.
As long as you go on engaging in illicit sex, animal slaughter, intoxication, there will be war.
Sve dok se upuštate u nezakonit seks, klanje životinje, intoksikaciju, bit će ratova.
Prabhupada was preaching in America when he came to America, the anti-Vietnam War demonstrations were on.
Kada je Prabhupada došao u Ameriku, odvijale su se anti-vijetnamske demonstracije.
And the president of America was Lyndon Baines Johnson, LBJ.
I predsjednik Amerike je bio Lyndon Johnson.
His election slogan was "All the way with LBJ."
Njegov izborni moto je bio svuda sa LBJ-em.
Very, very deep, very good reason to vote for him.
Vrlo dobar razlog da se glasa za njega.
So it was all the way to hell with LBJ.
Čitav put do pakla sa LBJ-em.
What was his profession?
Šta je bila njegova profesija?
Just like Jimmy Carter later on was a peanut farmer.
Kao što je James Carter bio uzgajivač kikirikija.
You see, and it's highly elevated people become the presidents of America.
Vidite kako vrlo uzvišeni ljudi postaju predsjednici Amerike.
So, previous to that, LBJ was a cattle rancher.
A LBJ je uzgajivao stoku.
And his pleasure was taking people to his ranch.
I njegovo zadovoljstvo je bilo u tome da dovodi ljude na svoj ranč.
And slaughtering a cow and making a barbecue.
Da kolje kravu.
Old person.
Vrlo mila osoba.
This Pol Pot in Kampuchea.
On je Pol Pot u Kampuchiji.
He makes Hitler look like a choir boy.
On pored koga Hitler izgleda kao dečačić.
He killed so many. He was responsible for killing so many people.
On je bio odgovoran za smrt jako mnogo ljudi.
But his relatives and the people in the village he came from said he was a very polite young man.
Ali njegovi rođaci i ljudi iz sela, u selu iz koga je otišao, govorili su da je on jako ljubazan mlad čovjek.
But this polite young man later became the person who was responsible for killing at least 2 million people.
Ali taj ljubazni mladić je kasnije postao osoba odgovorna za ubijanje barem 2 miliona ljudi.
Even Hitler in his day-to-day life was said to be very polite and
čak se za Hitlera kaže da je u svakodnevnom životu bio vrlo uhlađen.
Quite a cultured person.
Vrlo kulturna osoba.
Among his associates he was very nice in his dealings.
U krugu svojih saradnika bio je vrlo lep, vrlo dobar u odnošenju.
But look what he did, his name, Hitler.
Ali vidite što je uradio, samo njegovo ime.
Such a fearful person.
Osoba zastrašujuća.
So these very strongly sinful desires are there.
prisutne su te snažne grešne želje.
Even sometimes people are surprised when we say demon.
Ljudi su ponekad iznenađeni kada mi kažemo demon.
People who eat meat and engage in illicit sex and demons.
Ljudi koji jedu znači meso i upuštaju se u nezakonit seks su demoni.
You know, they're quite nice people.
Ne, oni su jako fini ljudi.
They smile and say, hello, how are you?
Smeše se i kažu, zdravo, kako si?
Thank you very much.
Hvala ti.
But actually, unless you become purified by Krishna consciousness, the most demoniac desires are there in the heart.
Ali ako se ne pročistimo svjesnošću Krišne, najdemonske želje će ostati u našem srcu.
And with a little opportunity, your ordinary nice person can become the most horrible, do the most horrible things.
I čim nađe prva prilika, ta obična fina osoba će učiniti najgroznije stvari.
You see, there are so many movies.
Postoji tako puno filmova.
In which, what do they show in the movies? Mostly killing.
A šta uglavnom pokazuju?
Sex and violence.
Šta pokazuju u tim filmovima? Seks i nasilje.
Rape,
silovanje,
torture.
mučenje.
If there's some film with a lot of rape and torture, it'll be a very good selling film. People will want to go and see it.
Ako film ima puno scena silovanja i mučenja, onda će biti jako popularan.
Isn't it?
Zar ne?
Why should people want to see such things?
Ali zašto bi ljudi želeli da vide takve stvari?
It means in their heart they have the perverted desire to do that themselves.
To znači da u srcima sami imaju tu započenu želju da to isto rade.
They have the very sinful desires.
Oni imaju vrlo grešne želje.
And actually many people do that.
A zapravo i mnogi ljudi to rade.
That they see all these things on TV.
Oni vide sve te stvari na televiziji.
And they do it themselves. They torture some animal, or they torture their children, or they rape their own children, or very horrible things.
I sami to rade, oni muče životinje ili sopstvenu djecu, čak i siluju svoju djecu.
Whoever imagined this child abuse?
Svakako zlostavljanje djece.
It's a very big problem in modern society.
To je ogroman problem u modernom društvu.
The people, they torture children, or they sexually abuse them in so many horrible ways.
Ljudi muče ili seksualno zloupotrebljavaju djecu na mnogo načina.
Who could think of such a thing?
Ko bi mogao to da pomisli?
Nakshatri Prabhu was telling me he's brought up in a very traditional family with his grandmother in the village.
Nakshatri Prabhu mi je rekao da je odrastao u vrlo tradicionalnoj porodici kod svoje babe na selu.
So, did you have television in that?
Da li si imao televiziju?
So, could you imagine any such thing in such an atmosphere?
Da li si mogao da zamisliš takvu atmosferu?
The children, they were considered the treasures of their family.
Djeca su smatrana bogatstvom.
You didn't tell me this, but I know, because any traditional society will be like that.
To mi si rekao, ali ja znam da svako tradicionalno društvo je bilo takvo.
That they'll always be kissing them and showering affection on them.
Znači uvijek ih ljube i maze.
In the modern society, it's so dangerous. The child is not even safe in their own home. They may be sexually abused even by their own father.
Ali današnje društvo je tako opasno da dete nije sigurno čak ni u svojoj kući, već njegov sopstveni otac može da ga siluje.
So such a horrible society we're living in.
To je tako užasno društvo u kome živimo.
In which they're simply promoting everything with sex, sex, sex.
I u kome sve reklamiraju seksom.
You may think, well, what's the problem? They're showing Coca-Cola with some beautiful girl.
I možete misliti u čemu je problem, oni pokazuju Coca-Cola s nekom...
Toothpaste, tires, everything. They're promoting sex, 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 sex.
I preko noći pasta za zube, guma, svuda reklamiraju taj seks.
And simply people become crazy.
I ljudi postaju ludi.
The sexual desire becomes overly stimulated.
A ta seksualna želja postaje pretjerano podstaknuta.
And so they want to enjoy in any kind of way.
I onda žele da uživaju na makoji način.
They have sex with one woman, another woman, and they think there's no pleasure here. Let me try some child, or let me try a man, or anything.
Znači, nakon što su imali seks sa mnogo žena i nisu zadovoljni, oni kažu da pokušam sa
djetetom. They're frustrated, so then they want to become violent.
I onda kad su razočarani, onda postoji nasilni.
You'll find in the movies, sex and violence, these two things go together.
To nalazite u filmovima, seks i nasilje. Oni idu zajedno.
So you find in the modern age people becoming worse than animals.
Nalazimo da u modernom društvu ljudi postaju gori od životinje.
Prabhupada said, very strong statement, Prabhupada once said.
Što Prabhupada jednom dao vrlo snažnu izjavu.
That modern so-called civilized man is lower than the lowest animals.
A moderni takozvani civilizovani čovjek je niži od najnižih životinja.
You see, even the tigers and the lions, they protect their children.
Čak i tigrovi i lavovi štite svoju djecu.
But in modern society they're thinking, young child, no one can see me, the child cannot protest, let me exploit.
Ali u moderno doba ljudi misle, malog djeteta nikome ne može vidjeti, a dete ne može da se brani, hajde da ga iskoristim.
Such a horrible society we live in.
Tako užasno društvo.
So Brahma, he is seeing what is the situation in this material world.
Brahma dakle vidi kakva je situacija u ovom materijalnom svijetu.
That people are simply suffering.
Da ljudi samo pate.
And engaging in sinful activities which simply lead to more and more suffering.
I da se upuštaju u grešna dela koja vode u sljedeće grešna dela stalno.
Because they are hatadhya. In the next verse is given the word hatadhya. Means that their intelligence is spoiled.
To znači da je njihova pamet pokvarena.
They don't think that I already tried to enjoy in so many lifetimes.
Oni ne misle da već sam toliko života pokušavao da uživam.
I'm not enjoying them, simply suffering.
I ne uživam nego patim.
So Brahma is very concerned to bring people to their proper position of Krishna consciousness.
I Brahma želi da dovede ljude do pravilnog shvatanja svjesnosti Krišne.
So devotees also, we should develop this consciousness.
I mi bhakte također treba da razvijemo tu svjesnost.
First of all, understand that material enjoyment is not at all enjoyment.
I prvo treba da shvatimo da materijalno uživanje uopšte nije
First of all, we
uživanje.
should understand that ourselves.
I prvo to moramo sami da shvatimo.
That the only sane thing to do is to serve Krishna.
Da je jedina normalna stvar da uradimo da služimo Krišnu.
And on top of that, we should see everyone in this world is victimized by sinful desires for sense gratification.
I treba da vidimo da je svako u svijetu postao žrtva svojih grešnih želja.
And therefore do something to help them.
I zato treba da učinimo nešto da im pomognemo.
This Krishna consciousness is very serious business.
Ova svjesnost Krišne je vrlo ozbiljna stvar.
We have such responsible work to try to help those who are heading for help.
Mi znači treba da pomognemo onima kojima pomoć treba.
I just finished with telling one story of a dream one devotee had about Prabhupada.
Završit ću priču, zapravo lekciju sa pričom o tome kako jedna bhakta sanjala Šrila Prabhupada.
That he had been very critical of our own movement.
Znači, vrlo se kritički odnosio prema našem pokretu.
And saying this is wrong and that is wrong.
Govorio ovo je loše, ono je loše.
So in a dream he found himself in front of Prabhupada.
I u snu je vidio Prabhupada.
And he was saying, Prabhupada, in ISKCON there's this and there's that and there's something else, no good.
I on mu je rekao, Šrila Prabhupada u ISKCONu ne valja ovo, ono.
So Prabhupada just like revealed a vision to him.
A Šrila Prabhupada mu je otvorio viziju.
He showed how people are suffering in so many ways in the material world.
I pokazao kako ljudi pate na toliko mnogo načina u ovom svijetu.
So horrible situation.
Tako užasna situacija.
Then Prabhupada turned to him and said, just try to do something to help them.
Onda se Prabhupada okrenuo prema njemu i rekao, samo pokušaj da učiniš nešto da im pomogneš.
So there may be so many problems in our movement.
Stoga znači može biti mnogo problema u našem pokretu.
We are living in the material world.
Mi živimo u materijalnom svijetu.
Trying to fight Maya, and Maya is very powerful.
Pokušavamo da se borimo s Majama, Maja je strašno moćna.
So we may have so many difficulties.
Zato imamo mnogo teškoća.
But whatever our difficulties are,
ali kakve god su naše teškoće,
we have the holy names, we have Krishna, we have Prabhupada.
Imamo svete imena, imamo Krišnu, imamo Prabhupada.
So let us not be too much overwhelmed by our own seeming problems. Look at the problems everyone else has.
Stoga nemamo biti suviše obuzeti sopstvenim problemima.
Without knowing Krishna, people are simply making their way to hell.
Ako ne poznaju Krišnu, ljudi će otići u pakao.
So let us try to do something to help them.
Hajde da pokušamo da učinimo nešto da im pomognemo.
Distribute Prabhupada's books.
Delimo Prabhupada knjige. Prasadam.
Preach. Try and bring people to Krishna.
Propovedanje, pokušamo da dovedemo ljude do Krišne.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So any question, please?
You were telling us about all these demonic features of the modern society, this sex, advertisements, and like this. So, is there someone who is doing this intentionally? Are these things emphasized intentionally, or Is there, I mean, a group of demons, or if you understand me?
Alright, say it in Serbian.
Znači, moje pitanje je bilo, čuli smo o svim tim užasnim odlikama i modernog društva i sad me zanima da li iza toga, da li ljudi koji to rade, sve te reklame, da li to radi namjerno, znajući, znači, kakav rezultat ili...
Conspiracy theory.
Well, teorije zavere.
Is there a group of demons? Well, there's the advertising agency.
Postoji tu agencija za reklame.
There's the big businesses.
To je veliki posao.
There are some theories that there are a group of people who are deliberately misleading the world.
Znači, postoje neke teorije o grupama ljudi koji namjerno vode svet pogrešnim putem.
I don't know, it doesn't make that much difference. Even if there are, what difference does it make to you and me?
Ja ne znam, ali nema nikakve razlike, čak i da postoji, kako bi to razlike
pravili. What are we going to do if there are? If we discover there are a group of people who are sitting together and discussing.
Šta bi se mogli da uradimo čak i kad bismo otkrili da postoji grupa ljudi
all the people go to hell.
Koji sedi i koji zaveru da svi ljudi odu u pakao.
People they're interested in profit.
Ljude interesuje profit.
So they have a whole society based on profit.
Čitavo društvo je, znači, zasnovano na profitu.
So they think, you want to make profit, we have to sell more things.
Ako hoćemo profit, moramo da prodajemo više stvari.
How we sell it, we'll promote that if you buy Pirelli tires, you'll become sexually attracted to.
Da bismo više prodali, onda ćemo reći, ako kupite taj reli gume, onda ćete imati veću seksualnu privlačnost.
So they're lusty themselves.
I oni sami su požudni.
So even if there is a group of such people, they're also victims of Maya.
Čak i ako postoji grupa takvih ljudi, oni su žrtve Maje.
They also need preaching to.
I njima treba propovedati.
And if there's a Christian idea that there's Satan.
Postoji hrišćanska ideja da postoji Satan,
that there's just one bad guy who's spoiling everything for everybody.
To je jedan loš tip koji svakoga upropaštava.
But even if there's Satan, we're all victims and we're all perpetrators also.
Ali ako čak i postoji Satana, mi smo također žrtve, ali isto imaju udjela u tome, saučesnici.
We are victimized by lusty desires because we want to be.
Znači mi smo žrtve ovih poželjnih želja jer ih sami želimo.
Anything else? There's no, that's a non-question.
To je ne pitanje.
There's no point in asking the question more.
Nema svrhe dalje postavljati pitanje.
There's no such thing as being unhappy in Krishna consciousness.
Ne postoji takva stvar kao biti nesrećen u svjesnosti Krishna.
If you're Krishna conscious, you're happy. That's all.
Ako si svjestan Krishna, onda si srećan.
If you're in Maya, then you're unhappy.
A ako si u Maji, onda si nesrećan.
There's only two things.
Postoje samo te dve stvari.
Of course, there's also unhappiness, just like the gopis feeling separation from Krishna.
Naravno,
but that is transcendental ecstasy.
Postoji nesreća kako su gopije osjećali u odvojenosti Krishne, ali to je transcendentalna ekstaza.
If you mean that I'm a member of the Krishna conscious, but I'm unhappy, that means we must be meditating on sense gratification, because this is the cause of unhappiness.
Ako hoćeš da kažeš da si ti član pokreta za svesnost Krishne, ali si nesrećan, to znači da meditiraš na čulno uživanje, jer to je uzrok patnje.
Krishna consciousness automatically places one in transcendental bliss.
Znači, svesnost Krishne automatski stavlja osobu u transcendentalno blaženstvo.
That is described in the very beginning of the nectar of devotion. What are the 6 symptoms of pure devotional service?
To je opisano na samom početku nektara predanosti. 6 principa.
Tell us, what are the 6 symptoms?
6 principa predanog služenja.
You can say? No. That's not the nectar of devotion, it's the nectar of instruction.
To nije nektar predanosti, nego nektar instrukcije.
Well, that's 2. There's 6.
To su
Kleshagni, not Kleshagni. Kleshagni, Shubhadha. Then, what does it mean? Say it in Serbian. Did he say it right?
He said all the
The first thing in if one takes up pure devotional service is that his material miseries are destroyed.
Znači prva stvar je da su njegove materijalne muke i bede uništene.
Then shubhada means it bestows auspiciousness.
I daje su povoljnost to.
Moksha laghuta krit. It makes the happiness of liberation seem very insignificant.
Čini sreću koja se dobija oslobođenjem vrlo beznačajnom.
Sudurlabha, it is rarely attained.
A vrlo se retko dostiže.
You see, that's another reason for being more grateful.
I to je još jedan razlog da budemo zahvalni.
And out of the millions and billions and trillions and zillions of living entities, some few of us are lucky enough to be practicing Krishna consciousness.
Od toliko miliona i biliona živih bića, samo nekolicina nas je srećno da može da primenjuje svesnost Krišne.
Sandrananda Visheshatma, it gives tremendous spiritual bliss.
Daruje nam izuzetan, ogroman duhovno blaženstvo.
Shri Krishna Akarsha Nichasa, pure devotional service is so powerful that it attracts Krishna, who himself is all attractive.
Znači, čisto predano služenje je tako moćno da privlači samog Krišnu koji je sve privlačen.
So if we're in the Krishna conscious movement but we're not feeling happy, then we must be doing something wrong.
A ako smo znači, u pokretu za svesnost Krišna, a nismo srećni, to znači da radimo nešto pogrešno.
It's a science. If you follow the process properly, then you'll be happy.
To je nauka, ako sledite proces pravilno, bit ćete srećni.
Anyway, we're not pure devotees, so we're influenced by the lower modes of nature.
Ali kako god, znači mi nismo čisti bakte i pod utjecajem smo guna prirode.
But as stated here,
ali kao što se kaže ovdje,
we are filled with lamentation as
smo,
long as we do not take shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna.
Znači sve dok ne uzmemo utočište Krišnih lotusovih stopala, bit ćemo puni jadikovanja.
So there may be difficulties.
I mogu biti prisutne teškoće.
Don't mind me saying so, but mostly the young ladies who join our movement, they have some anxiety, they want to find a nice husband.
Nemojte mi zameriti što ću vam reći, ali uglavnom mlade dame koje se pridružuju našem pokretu imaju tu teskobu u srcu, žele da nađu lepog muža.
That is the nature, they want some husband to protect them.
To je znači priroda njihova da žele da nađe muža koji će ih štititi.
So that may be a source of anxiety.
I to možda može biti uzrok uznemirenja.
I don't have any specific solution for that.
A za to nemam nikakvih specijalnih rješenja.
I don't have any eligible husbands in my pocket here.
Nemam nikakvih pogodnih muževa, znači u svom džepu.
But anyway, you can pray to Krishna to give you a nice husband also.
Ali možda se moliš Krišni da ti da lepog muža.
I hope that answered your question. I don't know if it did, but
Nadam se da to odgovara na pitanje, ne znam.
Maybe you're married already, I don't know.
Možda si već udata, ne znam.
Be happy.
Budi srećan.
Prabhupada said, chant Hare Krishna and be happy.
Prabhupada je rekao, mantriti Hare
So
Krishna,
you have to follow the orders of the Guru.
Treba da slediš naredbe Guru.
Prabhupada said to be happy, so if you're not happy, you're not following Prabhupada's instruction.
Prabhupada je rekao da budemo srećni. Ako nisi srećna, onda ne slediš instrukcije.
In our movement, it's against the rules to be unhappy.
U našem pokretu je protivzakonito biti nesrećan.
So you can dance in kirtan.
Igraju kirtanu.
It's pretty difficult to dance and be unhappy.
Vrlo je teško igrati i biti nesrećan istovremeno.
We hear a lot of these days about counseling. Counseling devotees.
Aha. Ovih dana čujemo mnogo toga o devotijama koji savjetnicima.
Some kind of spiritual psychology session. something like that.
Neka vrsta duhovne psihologije.
Maybe you need counseling.
Možda treba savjetnik.
The other thing is to fully engage in devotional service.
Inače, možete da se potpuno angažete u
If we're so busy
predanom služenju,
that when we go to take rest, that we fall asleep within half a second of putting our head down, then if we're so busy, we don't have time to think whether we're happy or unhappy.
ako smo toliko bili zauzeti tokom dana da onog trenutka kad spustimo glavu na jastuk zaspemo.
Maybe you heard about Jayananda Prabhu.
Možda ste čuli za Jayananda Prabhu.
So Danavir Maharaj, who he's coming to Bosnia, I don't know if he's in Croatia soon. Maybe is he coming here also? Well, maybe you get him over. He's always blissful. He's not nasty and mean like me. That's why you're unhappy. Because I'm giving all these nasty classes. So maybe that's one reason. Maybe when I go, you can be more happy. Anyway, she understands English. So he told me when he first came to the temple, he said, I have some questions.
Goswami mi je rekao kada je prvi put došao u templ da ima neka pitanja.
So if anyone had any questions, they always sent him to Jayananda because he knew everything.
Iako je iko imao neka pitanja, slali bi ga Jayanandi ili on znao sve.
The other devotees were all new and they didn't know how to preach to anybody.
Bhakti su bile mlade,
so he came and he said, I have some questions.
Nisu znali kako da propovedaju, onda su dolazili.
You better go and see Jayananda.
I pitali su pitanja, onda su ih upućivali.
So where can I find him?
A gdje da ga nađem?
Well, at this time he'll be out the back taking out the garbage. He's temple president.
On je temple president, u obranu dvorištu izbacuje đubre.
He was the town president, but he insisted on taking out the garbage.
On je bio temple president, ali insistirao na tome da on izbacuje đubre.
If anyone else said, no, you shouldn't do it, he said, why are you trying to take away my service?
Govorio zašto hoćete da mi oduzmete službu.
I like taking out the garbage for Krishna.
Ja volim da izbacujem smeće za Krishna.
So, Danavir Prabhu, or whatever, he was Bhakta something, not even Bhakta. He was from the university student, came out the back and saw Jayananda taking out the garbage.
Danavir Maharaj koji je tada bio student, otišao je u dvorište, vidio Jayananda kako izbacuje smeće.
And he looked so blissful.
I izgledao je tako blažen.
So Danavir Maharaj, he forgot all his other questions, he just said, how are you so happy?
Danavir Maharaj zaboravio sva ostala pitanja i jednostavno je pitao kako si tako srećan.
Said, I don't know, I don't have time to think about it.
Jayananda je rekao, ne znam, nemam vremena da mislim o tome.
Why don't you help me take out this garbage?
Pomozi mi da izbacim ovo smeće.
So like this, he was always immediately engaging everyone in service.
I na taj način je uvijek svakoga momentalno angažovao predano služenje.
Then it became blissful.
I onda je postojao blažen.
So why not have more service?
Zašto nemaš više službe?
And think that, well, I have to distribute books.
Misliš da moram da delim knjige?
Well, I may be miserable.
Možda sam nesrećan.
That's my misfortune.
To je moja nesreća.
But anyway, still I have to distribute the books.
Ali ipak i dalje treba da delim knjige.
Because people are going to hell.
Ljudi idu u pakao.
Let me do something to try to help them.
Da učinim nešto da pokušam da pomognem.
And then we can pray to Krishna, Krishna, please help me to distribute these books.
I onda možda se moliš Krishna, Krishna, molim te mi pomozi da podelim ove knjige.
And if we think about that, if we think about the welfare of others, then we stop thinking about ourselves and how happy or unhappy I am.
Ako počnemo da mislimo o dobrobiti za druge, onda ćemo prestati da mislimo o sebi, koliko smo
That doesn't
srećni.
become our criteria.
Sorry?
That doesn't become our...
To ne postaje naš kriterijum.
We simply think how to serve Guru and Krishna to help others.
Već jednostavno mislimo kako da služimo Guru i Krishnu.
Whether I'm happy or not, that doesn't matter.
Pomognemo drugima, bilo da smo srećni ili nesrećni, to nije važno.
If you think like that, then you become more blissful than anyone can imagine.
Ako misliš na taj način, postaćeš blaženije nego što možda zamisliš.
But if we're thinking how I should be happy, actually we'll never be happy.
Ali ako mislimo kako mi da postanemo srećni, nikada nećemo biti
Happiness only
srećni.
comes when we stop thinking about trying to be happy and we try to think how Krishna will be happy with my service.
A sreća dolazi samo kada prestanemo da mislimo na to kako da sami postanemo srećni i radimo službu da zadovoljimo Krishnu.
Okay, last question.
tim zemljama.
I don't know what the situation is. Probably you can tell me better than I can tell you.
Ali ne znam kakva je ovdje situacija, možete vi meni reći bolje nego ja vama.
Depends on local laws and so many different things.
Zavisi od lokalnog zakona i tu drugo.
Internet means you can make your web page and do it. And already so many devotees are doing it.
Internet znači da možete napraviti svoju web stranu i to mnogi bhakti već rade.
Plenty of opportunities to preach if you want to preach.
Postoji mnoštvo mogućnosti da se propoveda ako želite.
TV preaching is effective if we get the opportunity.
A propovedanje preko televizije je jako efektivno.
I would think in this country there are limited opportunities in that way, isn't it?
Ali u ovoj zemlji su ograničene mogućnosti za to.
Do you get Croatian TV here also?
No.
Why, do they block it out or what? Or it just doesn't come this far?
Only if you have satellite TV.
You don't have local Serbian TV?
Yes, we do.
But how come the Croatian TV doesn't reach to here?
I don't know.
Only to the border area, is it? They don't watch it, I see. They're so anti-Croatian. Because there's quite a lot of TV preaching in Croatian.
Jer u Hrvatskoj ima dosta mnogo
some national company
propovedanja preko televizije.
About a Janmashtami program.
Janmashtami je neka državna televizija prenosila.
Hare Krishna.